Hey Reddit. I never thought I'd be posting here, but here I am, asking for advice after discovering something that has completely turned my life upside down. I've been married to my wife, Amanda, 32, for 6 years. We have a young daughter together, and our life seemed pretty normal, nothing extraordinary, but we were happy. At least, that's what I thought. I'm going to try to give you all the details, so you understand the situation properly. I'm not proud of what I'm about to tell you, but I need some perspective. I've been struggling with what to do next, and Reddit has helped me in the past, so here I am. It all started when I was cleaning up our home office. Amanda's laptop had been sitting on the desk for a while, and she always kept it closed when she wasn't using it. She's a very private person when it comes to her phone or computer, but I didn't think much of it. She never gave me a reason to question her before. I was just tidying up, moving some papers around when I accidentally knocked the laptop to the side, and the screen flipped open. As the laptop landed on the desk, I noticed something strange. The laptop was already logged in. Normally, Amanda would never leave it unlocked, but there it was, her desktop staring back at me. My first instinct was to just close it and leave it alone, but something in me told me to look. I don't know why. I didn't have a gut feeling about anything at the time, but there was a nagging thought in the back of my head that I just couldn't shake. I'm not usually someone who invades privacy, but I don't know, something felt off. I opened the laptop, and the first thing that popped up was her recent video folder. I know it sounds weird, but I clicked it. What was in there was far from what I expected. The video was titled, Date Night with C. C is our neighbor, Chad, a guy who lives 2 doors down. He's around my age, mid-30s, and a fairly quiet guy who often helped us out with odd jobs around the house when I was away. He was always nice enough, and I never had a reason to feel uncomfortable around him. But that night, when I clicked the video, everything changed. The video began innocently enough. I could see Amanda and Chad sitting on the couch in our living room. They were laughing, having a few drinks, and enjoying each other's company. It didn't seem unusual at first. But then, as the video continued, things started to shift. Amanda moved closer to Chad, and they started whispering to each other. I could tell there was a certain chemistry between them. It was a look I had never seen before, not with me, not with anyone else. My stomach dropped, and my heart began to race. Suddenly, in the video, Chad leaned in and kissed Amanda. It wasn't a casual kiss, it was passionate, and I could see her response. My hands went numb. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. They didn't stop there. The video showed them moving into the bedroom. I couldn't look away, but I felt sick to my stomach. I had no idea that Amanda had been seeing Chad in this way. She'd always been so loving, so devoted, and we'd never had issues that seemed this deep. I had no clue this was happening. The video was about 20 minutes long. I didn't watch the whole thing. I couldn't. As soon as I realized what was happening, I shut the laptop and sat there in shock, not knowing how to process what I had just seen. I had so many questions racing through my mind. How long had this been going on? How many times had she been with him? And why had I been so oblivious to the signs? I kept replaying the video in my head, but the feeling of betrayal was consuming me. I don't know what to do next. I'm torn between confronting Amanda immediately, which might cause a huge explosion, or sitting on this information for a while and trying to gather more evidence. I know it sounds bad, but I also feel like I need to make sure I'm not overreacting. Maybe there's a reasonable explanation for this. Maybe I'm just seeing something that's not there. I've never been the jealous type, and Amanda has always been open with me. But this is something I didn't expect. We've been together for 6 years. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but I've always trusted her, and now I don't know what to believe. At this point, I feel like I need advice from people who have been through something similar. Should I confront Amanda right away? How do I approach this without making her defensive? And is there any way to salvage this relationship? How do I even begin to address this without making it worse? I'm struggling with all of this. I'm questioning my own judgment, wondering if I missed something or if I should have seen the warning signs. I'm also worried about what this means for our daughter. How do I deal with this emotionally? And what do I say to her if everything falls apart? I feel lost. What do I do now? After finding the video, I spent the next few hours in a state of disbelief. I couldn't focus on anything, couldn't eat, couldn't think straight. The image of Amanda and Chad together kept replaying in my mind. Every part of me wanted to scream, to confront her right away, but something inside told me I needed to take a step back and process everything first. I couldn't talk to anyone about this, not yet. I didn't want to share this with my friends or family until I knew more. I didn't want to look like a fool or jump to conclusions, but I was so consumed by everything I had just seen. I kept pacing around the house, fighting the urge to immediately march up to Amanda and demand answers. Finally, I decided to take a walk to clear my head. I didn't know what else to do. I needed space, but I also felt like I was suffocating in my own thoughts. The next day, I could barely sleep. I couldn't stop thinking about what I had seen. When Amanda came home from work, she greeted me like everything was normal. She was her usual, kind self, smiling, asking how my day went, but I couldn't bring myself to be the same. I still hadn't said anything. I wasn't sure how to start the conversation. I felt like if I just came out and accused her, the conversation would spiral into something I wasn't prepared for. I didn't want her to shut down on me. I needed the truth, but I also knew I couldn't rush it. I spent the evening going back and forth in my mind. What was my next move? Should I come out and ask her directly about Chad? Should I ask her if she knew I'd found the video? Or should I confront her with all the details and see how she reacts? The emotional toll was becoming unbearable. I was so angry and heartbroken that I didn't know if I could handle it much longer without speaking up. But I wanted to be smart about this. If I could gather more information, then maybe I'd have the upper hand when the time came. It was the next evening when the weight of everything finally got to me. I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I couldn't keep pretending that I didn't know what was happening. It was eating away at me, and I needed answers, even if it meant facing the possibility that my entire world was about to come crashing down. I sat Amanda down at the kitchen table that night. She could tell something was off by the way I was acting. Her face softened, and she immediately asked, "What's wrong? You're acting distant." I looked at her, trying to hold back my emotions. "I need you to be honest with me, Amanda," I said, my voice low. "Is there something going on with you and Chad?" She blinked, clearly taken off guard. "Chad? What do you mean?" I pulled out my phone, opened the video folder, and showed her the video. I didn't need to say anything else. The shock on her face said it all. "Where did you find that?" she asked, her voice shaking. "The laptop," I said flatly. "I saw everything. The video, the messages, everything." Her face went white, and I saw the panic set in. She stood up and backed away from the table, her eyes wide with fear. I didn't want you to find that," she whispered. "It's not what you think." I could feel my chest tightening. "Not what I think?" I repeated, my voice rising. "What exactly is this, Amanda? You're in that video with him. Why did you lie to me about everything?" She started, her voice breaking. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It was just supposed to be a one-time thing." "A one-time thing?" I interrupted. "You've been sneaking around behind my back for months, Amanda. A one-time thing doesn't involve a hidden video, messages, and secret plans. You've been lying to me. What happened to us?" She collapsed into a chair, burying her face in her hands. "I didn't want to hurt you," she sobbed. "I don't know how it got this far. Chad and we got close, and I don't know what happened. I never meant for it to be like this." I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I didn't know what to believe. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to demand answers, but another part just wanted to walk away from everything. This wasn't the woman I had married, the woman I had trusted. This was a stranger. The more Amanda spoke, the more the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. She explained that she and Chad had grown close over the last year. He had been there for her when I was busy with work and stressed out. She had felt neglected, and she was too afraid to come to me with her feelings. "I felt so isolated," she confessed, her voice trembling. "I didn't know how to talk to you anymore. And Chad, he was just someone who gave me attention, someone who made me feel alive again. I made a huge mistake. I know that. And I never wanted to hurt you, but I did. And I'm so sorry." The apology sounded real, but it didn't take away the fact that she had broken my trust. I wanted to believe her, but how could I after seeing everything with my own eyes? How many times had she lied to me about where she was or who she was with? How many moments had I missed while she was living this double life? "I don't know what to do with all of this, Amanda," I said, my voice cracking. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you. I'm at a crossroads. Part of me wants to pack up and leave, to never look at her again. But another part of me still loves her, and I know this is a huge decision. Our daughter is in the back of my mind every second. What happens to her if we separate? How do I navigate this with her? And what kind of life do I want to give her moving forward? I'm still processing everything, and I'm not sure what the future holds. But I know one thing. I can't go back to pretending that everything's fine. I need to figure out if I can rebuild trust with Amanda or if this is the end of our marriage." The days that followed the confrontation felt like I was living in a haze. I couldn't stop thinking about everything Amanda had told me, the affair, the secrecy, the fact that it had gone on for so long. It felt like my entire world was built on a lie. Every interaction we'd had, every moment I thought we were happy, now felt like a betrayal. I knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, constantly questioning everything and everyone around me. But I wasn't ready to make any drastic moves just yet. Amanda was still trying, desperately, to convince me that she was truly sorry and that she wanted to fix things. But I had no idea how long it would take before I could even begin to trust her again, or if that was even possible. She kept telling me that she loved me and that this was a mistake she'd regret for the rest of her life. But I wasn't sure if I believed her anymore. How could I? How could I trust the woman who had betrayed me so deeply? A week after the confrontation, Amanda asked if we could sit down and talk. I was hesitant at first, but I agreed. I didn't know what else to do. The tension in the house was unbearable, and I felt like we both needed to be honest about where we stood. We sat in the living room, facing each other, and for the first time, I saw the full extent of her remorse. She was no longer trying to justify her actions. She was crying, genuinely, and I could see the hurt in her eyes. It felt different than before, like she wasn't just saying the right things because she had to. "I want to do whatever it takes," she said, her voice breaking. "I know I've hurt you beyond words, and I can't take that back. But I am willing to fight for us, for our family. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, and I know I've broken something that can't be fixed overnight. But I'm asking for a chance for both of us to heal and rebuild." It was in that moment that I realized she wasn't asking for a second chance for herself. She was asking for a chance to prove that she could change, to prove that she was worthy of my trust again. It wasn't about her anymore. It was about us, our family, and what we wanted going forward. But I still wasn't sure. I still had so many doubts, so many unanswered questions. And most importantly, I wasn't sure if I could let go of the hurt enough to move forward. The weeks after that conversation were a blur. We both tried our best to make things work, but it was incredibly difficult. Amanda made every effort to be transparent with me. She was willing to share her phone, her social media accounts, and even her location at all times. She went to therapy on her own and even suggested that we attend couples therapy together. But no matter what she did, I still couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. Every time I saw her on her phone, I wondered if she was talking to Chad. Every time she went out with her friends, I wondered if she was meeting him again. The questions piled up in my mind, and I started to realize that, even though Amanda was doing everything right, the real work had to come from me, too. I realized that I was holding on to the pain, the anger, and the mistrust, and I needed to find a way to release it, if not for her, then for myself. I couldn't keep living in the past if I wanted to move forward. But it wasn't easy. There were days when I felt like I was making progress, and then there were days when I'd remember the video or the way she looked at Chad, and the old wounds would tear open again. One night, after another emotionally draining conversation about the affair, I told Amanda that I needed to step back. I needed time to figure out if I could truly forgive her, time to process everything without feeling the weight of it all. I knew it wasn't fair to her, but I couldn't pretend everything was fine when I didn't know where we stood. Amanda cried as I explained how I was feeling. "I understand," she said softly. "I know I've ruined your trust, but I will wait. I will give you the time you need, no matter how long it takes." I didn't know what the future held. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to stay with her anymore. But I knew that, at least for now, I needed space to breathe. For the next few weeks, Amanda and I didn't live together like we had before. I stayed at a friend's place for a while, trying to give both of us the space to clear our heads. It wasn't easy, especially with our daughter, who was confused about why Daddy wasn't home. But it was necessary. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I needed to see if I could ever trust her again, and I needed to know if I could forgive her. During this time apart, Amanda reached out to me every day, trying to reassure me that she was working on herself. She was going to therapy and even started seeing a personal counselor to address her own issues that led her to the affair in the first place. I couldn't deny that she was trying, but the question remained, was it enough? Meanwhile, I spent time reflecting on what had gone wrong in our relationship. I thought about the signs I had missed, the ways I had failed to recognize her emotional needs. I thought about the trust that had been shattered, and whether that was something that could ever truly be rebuilt. It's been a month since I left our house and moved in with a friend. The space has given me some clarity, but it has also amplified the uncertainty in my mind. Every time I think about Amanda, I feel torn. Part of me wants to reconcile, to go back to the life we had, but another part of me wonders if I can truly ever trust her again. We've been talking regularly, mostly about our daughter and logistics, but there have been moments where we've opened up more. Amanda has been doing everything she can to show me that she's committed to making things right, but it still doesn't feel like enough. I still can't shake the image of her with Chad. The betrayal still feels fresh. During the time apart, I've been focusing on myself, trying to process the hurt and figure out what I want moving forward. Therapy has been helpful. I've been going on my own to talk through my feelings. But the truth is, I'm exhausted. The emotional roller coaster has drained me. I just want peace, even if it means letting go. A few weeks ago, Amanda asked if she could visit me. She said she wanted to talk in person, that she needed to show me how much she wanted to fix things. I wasn't sure I was ready, but I agreed. We met at a coffee shop, and the moment I saw her, I felt a wave of emotion hit me. She was the same woman I had fallen in love with, but now she felt like a stranger. The weight of everything between us felt heavy in the air. We sat down, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't know where to start. We had both been avoiding the hard questions for weeks. She broke the silence first. "I know this is the hardest thing we've ever faced," Amanda said, her voice shaky. "I've hurt you in ways I can't even explain, and I know I've ruined everything. But I still love you, and I need you to know that I am willing to do whatever it takes to earn back your trust. I've been doing the work. I'm in therapy, I've cut ties with Chad, and I'm committed to making things right." I looked at her, and for a moment, I saw the woman I married. But there was something else in her eyes, fear. She was terrified of losing me, and I could see how much this was tearing her apart. "I don't know if I can believe you anymore," I said quietly. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again. But I'm not saying that we're over. I'm just saying I don't know how to move forward. And that's the truth." Amanda nodded, tears filling her eyes. "I understand. I just want you to know that I am not asking for immediate forgiveness, but I am asking for the chance to prove to you that I can be the person you need me to be. I will wait for you, no matter how long it takes." Her words cut deep. They were heartfelt, but part of me wondered if they were just words. The pain I felt from her betrayal was still fresh, and I didn't know if I could just forget about it. I wasn't sure if I was ready to let her back into my life in the same way, and I wasn't sure if I ever would be. After the meeting, I spent a few days thinking about everything Amanda had said. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that the one thing I needed above all else was clarity. I didn't want to continue in this emotional limbo, always questioning, always doubting. I reached out to my therapist, and we talked about what moving forward looked like. The truth is, I didn't know if I could forgive Amanda, and I wasn't sure if I could ever forget what she did. But what I did know was this: I wasn't ready to give up on everything. I loved her, and I wasn't ready to throw away the life we had built together. But I also knew that for this to work, things had to change. I needed a sense of security, a feeling that this could never happen again. And if I didn't get that, I knew I would walk away. The therapist gave me one piece of advice that stuck with me. Forgiveness doesn't happen overnight, but you can start rebuilding trust one step at a time. It's not about forgetting, it's about choosing to move forward. You both need to decide if that's what you want. That's when it hit me. I didn't have to forget, but I did need to choose whether I wanted to try to rebuild, or if I was going to walk away. And for the first time in weeks, I started to feel a little more at peace with myself. I didn't have all the answers, but I knew I couldn't keep living in this state of confusion. A few days later, I sat down with Amanda again, this time at our house. I had come to a decision. "I've been thinking about everything," I said. "I've been thinking about us, and about what's next. I don't know if I can forgive you right now, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to move forward, but there are some things I need from you, Amanda." Her face lit up with a mix of hope and fear. "Anything. I'll do anything to make this work." "I need transparency," I said firmly. "I need you to continue with therapy, and I need to see consistent effort from you. No more secrets. And I need time. I'm not going to rush this. It's going to take time, and I need you to understand that. I can't just forget what you've done, but I'm willing to try and rebuild if we both do the work." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I understand. I'll do whatever it takes, and I'll be patient. I'll be here for you, no matter how long it takes." It's been another month since I made the decision to give Amanda a chance to rebuild our marriage. I won't lie, it's been harder than I thought. Some days, I feel like we're making progress, like we're moving in the right direction. Other days, I feel like the old wounds are still there, festering just beneath the surface, and I wonder if we'll ever truly recover. But one thing I've learned is that healing isn't a straight path. Some days are good, and others are tough. But each step forward, no matter how small, brings me closer to the clarity I need. Amanda and I have been working through things slowly. She's been following through on her commitment to transparency. She's given me access to her phone, emails, and social media without hesitation. It's been a relief, honestly, because it's the only way I can start to rebuild trust. I know that trust isn't just about checking in on her. It's about her showing me that she's willing to be completely open and honest with me, no matter how difficult the conversations may be. But it's still hard. Every time she gets a text or a message, I can't help but wonder who it's from. I don't want to be the guy who checks every message, but it's been difficult to turn off that little voice in my head. I'm trying to be patient with myself, trying to remind myself that we're taking this one step at a time, but some days it feels like the fear is overwhelming. We've started talking more, having the conversations we should have had before all of this happened. It's difficult, but I'm starting to understand more about where she was emotionally when the affair happened. She admits that she felt neglected, that she was struggling with her own insecurities, and that Chad gave her the attention she was missing. I don't want to make excuses for her, but hearing her perspective, really hearing it, has helped me make sense of some of her choices. It doesn't justify her actions, but it does help me understand why it happened. She says she's sorry every day, and I can see that she's genuinely committed to making this work. She's gone back to therapy, both individually and with me. She's been more affectionate, more present, and more understanding when I need space to process. I can tell she's trying. But even so, I'm still waiting for that moment when I feel like I can fully trust her again. I don't know when that will come. Maybe it never will. But for now, I'm choosing to believe in the effort she's making. I can't let the past paralyze me, or I'll never move forward. Last weekend, we had our first family gathering since everything happened. It was my birthday, and we'd planned a small get-together with a few close friends and family members. At first, I wasn't sure if I was ready to face everyone, especially since Amanda and I still hadn't fully processed everything ourselves. But I knew it was important, both for our daughter and for us. I needed to show her that we could still have a family, even if things were broken. Amanda and I talked about it beforehand. We agreed that it would be best if we didn't bring up the affair, at least not in front of everyone. We didn't want to put on a facade, but I didn't feel ready to make it a public issue either. I wasn't sure if I could handle the awkwardness of answering questions or dealing with people's reactions. The day of the gathering was tense. At least, it felt tense to me. I kept wondering if anyone knew, if they could tell something was off between us. But we went through the motions. Amanda was sweet, playing the role of the supportive wife, and I was doing my best to not let my thoughts consume me. We had a few heartfelt conversations with family, and Amanda's efforts didn't go unnoticed. Then, my sister asked me privately if I was okay. She'd noticed I was a little quieter than usual. I'm close with my sister, and she's one of the few people who knows the full extent of what's been happening. I told her I was trying, that things were still a work in progress, but that we were moving forward, one day at a time. It was later that evening when I had a quiet moment to myself. I stepped out into the backyard to get some air and reflect on the day. I felt overwhelmed by everything, the pain, the uncertainty, the little steps forward, and yet, I also felt something else, a glimmer of hope. I realized that maybe we weren't as far gone as I'd feared. Maybe there was still a chance. Amanda had shown me so much vulnerability over the past few weeks, and while I didn't know if I could ever forget what she had done, I was starting to see that we could rebuild, together, if we both wanted it. When I went back inside, I found Amanda in the kitchen, cleaning up. I stood in the doorway for a moment, watching her. She looked up, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like we were really seeing each other again. "You doing okay?" she asked softly. "Yeah," I said, walking over to her. "I think I am." It wasn't much, but it was something. And for the first time in a while, it felt like a step forward. A few days after the family gathering, I sat down with Amanda again. We talked about everything, the affair, our progress, and where we were now. I told her that I still wasn't sure if I could ever fully forgive her, but I was willing to give us a chance. I needed her to understand that trust couldn't be rushed. We agreed to keep working on it, to keep being open with each other. We both know that the road ahead won't be easy. There will be more difficult conversations, more setbacks, and more moments of doubt. But for now, we're trying, and that's all I can ask for. Things felt like they were starting to settle into a rhythm after the family gathering. Amanda and I were communicating better, and we were both actively working on rebuilding the emotional connection that had been fractured. But deep down, I couldn't shake the doubt that still lingered. I was trying to let go of the pain, But every time I thought I was making progress, something would trigger those old feelings of betrayal again. It happened one evening while Amanda was out running errands. I was home alone, and for some reason, I decided to clean out the closet in the hallway. While sorting through old boxes, I found an envelope wedged in the back of the shelf. It was tucked into a book, and the handwriting on the outside of the envelope made my stomach drop. It was addressed to Chad. The envelope contained a stack of letters that Amanda had written to him while the affair was going on. As I flipped through them, my heart sank further. The letters weren't just about their secret meetings. They were filled with declarations of affection, expressions of longing, and even plans for their future together. I hadn't known about these letters, and seeing them, knowing that they were written while I thought everything was fine between Amanda and me, felt like a punch to the gut. I sat on the floor, staring at the letters, unable to comprehend what I was reading. The doubt, the disbelief, the hurt came rushing back in waves. It felt like I was reliving the day I first found the video. It felt like I was back at square one. When Amanda came home, I was still sitting there, the envelope in my lap. She saw the look on my face immediately, the look that she knew all too well by now. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice tentative. I didn't know if I could say anything. The anger inside me was overwhelming, and yet, all I could do was stare at her. I didn't want to accuse her of more lies, but I didn't know how to not confront this new discovery. "What are these?" I finally managed to say, holding up the letters. Her face went pale. I didn't want you to find those." "You didn't want me to find them?" I repeated, barely able to speak. "Amanda, why do you have letters to him hidden in our house? You said everything was over between you two." I thought I had burned them all," she stammered. "I thought I had gotten rid of everything. But I guess I kept them because they were a part of what I was going through. They were stupid. I know that. But I swear, I never intended for you to find them." I threw the letters down onto the floor. "You think that's what matters right now? You think why you kept them is what matters?" "I don't know how to process any of this, Amanda. It feels like no matter how much you try to show me you're committed, there's always something hidden. Every time I think I'm ready to move forward, you give me another reason not to." "I'm sorry," she whispered, looking down. "I can't undo the past. I can't take back what I did, but I swear to you, I've been trying. I don't want to keep hurting you." That conversation with Amanda was a breaking point for me. I don't think I ever truly realized how deep the damage from her affair had gone until that moment. I thought we were making progress, but it felt like the rug had been pulled out from under me once again. The letters were just another piece of the puzzle that didn't make sense. I had trusted her, and now I was questioning everything. I spent the next few days processing everything, trying to make sense of my feelings, trying to figure out what was best for me and for our daughter. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that while Amanda was showing efforts to make things right, I couldn't keep living in a relationship that felt like it was built on uncertainty. I didn't want to keep hurting. I didn't want to keep questioning her every move. It wasn't just about the affair anymore. It was about my own peace of mind, my own mental health, and my ability to move forward without feeling like the past was always chasing me. I realized that the trust wasn't something I could rebuild just by wanting it. I needed a solid foundation, and if I kept holding on to the past, I'd never be able to build that. A week after the letter incident, I sat Amanda down for one final conversation. I had made my decision, but I wasn't sure if she was ready to hear it. "I've been thinking a lot about everything," I said, my voice calm but firm. "About us, about the future. And I've realized something." Amanda looked at me, her face full of anticipation. "What is it?" "I don't think I can do this anymore," I said quietly. "I can't keep living in this uncertainty. I can't keep wondering if you're hiding something, if I can trust you again. I've tried, Amanda. I've tried to move forward, but I don't think I can." She collapsed into tears, reaching for my hand. "Please don't say that. I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. I love you. Please don't give up on us." "I'm not giving up on you, but I think I have to give up on us," I said, feeling like my heart was breaking. "I can't do this anymore. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive you completely. I need to move forward with my life, and I can't keep carrying this weight." It's been several months since Amanda and I decided to part ways. The decision wasn't easy, and there were times when I second-guessed it. But now, I feel like I'm finally moving in the right direction. I'm focusing on myself, on healing, and on being the best father I can be to our daughter. Amanda and I still talk from time to time, especially about our daughter, but the emotional distance has made it easier to handle. I'm not angry anymore, but I'm also not holding on to the past. I've learned that forgiveness is something that happens on your own time, but it's also something that shouldn't be rushed. As for Amanda, she's working on herself, too. She's gone back to therapy, and she's admitted that she has a lot of work to do. She's trying to be a better person, but I'm not waiting for her to change anymore. I'm choosing to move forward.